Good afternoon everyone. As all of you know that in the previous session we have started with a new course, or rather say a new class in which we are taking the history mapping portions. And what is the aim and the agenda behind this mapping was, as all of you can see in the previous classes, that how UPSC is asking the questions directly from the maps which are given in the NCERT, be it of class 6 or result of class 12. So keeping in mind, I have started with a new classes, okay, and we are going classes wise. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and whatever the maps will be there with respect to the history portion, I will be covering it up in all these sessions, okay. So in the previous we have covered the site of Burzuhum. This was the first site, Burzuhum, and you can see that it was a Neolithic site. So basically, while studying all these sites, we have to remember that where it is located, what are some of the important parameters, the important distinguishing features, the distinctive features, the important features which are associated with the Neolithic age. These are the things what we have to study and remember, okay. So in previous class we have studied about the Burzuhum. Now we are going to study about Mehargarh, okay. As all of you can see that this site is outside the present day, the political boundary of the Indian subcontinent, but we have to study this, at least some of the general features which are associated with Mehargarh. So it is a Neolithic site. We are going to first of all study this, okay. So the topic is Mehargarh. It is class 2 history mapping classes 2, and the source is class 6 NCERT chapter number 2 map number 2, okay. So first of all, this Mehargarh, it is a Neolithic site, and at the same time it is some of its features or some of its stages have evidences of Chalcolithic age also. So Chalcolithic age, basically it will mean that we find the presence of copper, and along with that we have evidences of painted pottery also. So these are found in this site. It is an example of Mehargarh also. This site of Mehargarh, it is an example of Neolithic, plus it is an example of Chalcolithic also. Some of its phases, like when archaeologists excavate any site, for example this is Mehargarh, then various periods are there, and starting from bottom it is period 1, period 2, period 3 and then going up to 4. Then sometimes a site, it is found that 2 or 3 ages are overlapping in that one particular site, and this is what we find in the Mehargarh, that it gives example of the Neolithic also, plus Neolithic and plus Chalcolithic also. Now some of the basic features that where this I have told, how whenever you are studying any site in history, then what are the important points are there which all of you should remember. Basically the geographic location. So if we talk about the geographic location of Mehargarh, then it is situated in the Bolan Valley of the Kachi plain, which is located in the Balochistan. That is in present day Pakistan area. It is located Bolan Valley, Kachi plain. This is the geographical location of the site of Mehargarh. Now we are talking about the features of the site, that what all things have been discovered. So first of all, after excavation we get information about the settlement pattern. What kind of settlement pattern do we have, or we get through archaeological evidences in Mehargarh, that people lived in houses made of handmade mud bricks. That people lived in houses made of mud brick. And what was the size? The size was generally small. And what was the shape? Basically rectangular. The general size. It doesn't mean that we will not find any other kind of size or other kind of shapes. But in general, whatever has been discovered or whatever has been excavated, we find that the settlement pattern or the kind of houses which we have got while excavation is that majority of them are handmade with mud brick. They are small in size and their shape is generally rectangular. So these are some of the points which you need to keep in mind about Mehargarh. Coming to the most important thing is that whenever we study these stone ages, all these Neolithic, Mesolithic, Paleolithic, they are classified under stone ages and they are basically a part of prehistory. We have three divisions: prehistory, proto-history and history. Prehistory is that period of history where we don't have any kind of written evidences available, and whatever evidences are, that are in the form of archaeological sources. So based upon the archaeological evidences, we try to frame a general picture of all the society of that prevailing time. So settlement pattern we have studied in the previous slide. Now we talk about the tools. These all are the varieties of the tools which has been found in the site of Mehargarh. So basically microlith tools are there. We have blades, we have celts and some grinding stones also. Basically what does this grinding stone represent? Their food processing activity. The food processing activity it represent. Apart from this, celt, it is a Neolithic hand axe. Microlith, we trace it from Mesolithic period. Blades, again it was an innovation, or the parallel blades which was innovation. And the polished tools are all these features of the Neolithic ages in India. So, and these are the evidences which has been found in the site of Mehargarh. Now we come about the burial practices related and what evidences are there in the site of Mehargarh. So generally all the burials were done in some of the other sites, like for other previous period, we find that particular area was there. The living space and the burial space, they were different. They had one area was fixed for burial space and one was for residential area. But now what we find is that even within the houses itself, the burials are coming out. And basically in the open space of the houses, we find burial. Okay, place, the shape of the pit is basically oval in nature, and the body is kept in a bent position, and along with the burial, when the person who has died, that is being buried, some kind of grave goods are there, like animals are there, we found in the grave. Some kind of ornaments are there, some kind of offerings are there, food materials are there, necklaces are there, stone. So all these things basically represent what? That those people at that time had some kind of belief system. These are the practices which are associated with burial. So funerary practices and funerary evidences are there, some examples are there which shows that these people had some kind of belief system. And modern day historians, anthropologists, they identify that they had some kind of cultic belief. That a belief, what is this cultic belief? Basically a belief in afterlife. That even if the person has died, so when he will be in his grave, he will require something to survive, someone to serve, something to eat. Okay, so these are the things which are getting represented from these burial activities. Also in this time period, as it is Neolithic site, and all of you know that Neolithic is associated with the beginning of food production, craft making, pottery making, all these things are coming in out. So all these things are available. We get evidence of especially the pottery making, while some of the levels of the Mehargarh, they give evidence of painted pottery. Okay, at the same time some of the levels are also there which are contemporary with the Chalcolithic period. We find polished pottery also. Okay, so both these painted pottery, colored pottery and polished pottery, all these are available in the site of Mehargarh. Okay, Now, I have told about that subsistence pattern. So basically we have evidences of agriculture and domestication of beginning of agriculture is there, and domestication of animal we find. It should be domestication of animals. Okay. We find the beginning of agriculture and the domestication of animal. Yes, this feature we find it from the Mesolithic period onwards. So it is a continuation. Okay. And then what are the important examples which shows the domestication of agriculture? That we find people growing barley, wheat, bear, the seeds of bear, the seeds of date, and most important, the evidence of the cotton we are getting from the Mehargarh. Now, as far as the domestication of animals are concerned, then through archaeological evidences we get the evidences of the bones of animals like the cattle, sheep and goats. So this presents us that they were practicing the domestication of animals. Now, as far as their religious belief is concerned, though it is not very cut clear evidence, we cannot say that yes, these people had a definite amount of cultic behavior or cultic practices, but again scholars and anthropologists, they come to a conclusion that, see, why they are saying that they have some kind of religious and belief. We have some figurines, some terracotta figurines of females have been found with elaborate hairstyle, heavy breast and then jointed legs. Basically it shows that, see, in a religious significance in all this society, fertility is always associated with women. Now all those birth giving activity, it is associated with the female features. So basically the society and the people of that time as is like the earth. Now the mainstay of the Neolithic people has become now agriculture. They are primarily living and dependent upon agriculture. It is becoming one of the important way. So as the earth gives the production or helps in the production of agriculture, similarly, in order to pay reverence in their day-to-day life, it is the woman who has been giving birth to the child and the children's. So in that way, they are making a logical, assumption or some kind of corollary that in order to show some kind of sympathy or in mother goddess, basically the concept of mother goddess, it is there, it is coming out not in a prominent sense, but yes, it is coming out that the way earth is to be, how the earth helps in the production of agriculture, similarly women's help in the production of this, the fertility thing kind of thing. So they are making an analogical example or an analogy to show their cultic behave by making this terracotta figures of women or terracotta female figures of females. So these are the some of the features are there which are associated with the site of Mehargarh. What all of you have to remember? First of all, its geographic location, where it is situated. Apart from that, certain other features you have to write down. Now, what kind of settlement pattern, what kind of tools it has been found. Other than that, what are the various motifs which are associated, and in the motif you will basically give this cultic motifs, and then how the evidence of agriculture and the domestication of animal are there. These are the points which all of you should keep in mind while writing about the Mehargarh. Now, as this area lies in the Baluchistan area, apart from this Mehargarh, there are many other Neolithic sites are also there, okay, which is very much important to, even if you can't remember, at least you can write down in your notes, and especially it would be very much helpful for all those history optional students who are going to appear in this time mains. Okay, so some of the names of the important site in this region are Kile Gul Muhammad, Dam Sadat, Anjira, Siyah Dam, Munda Geek, Sur Jangal, Dabar Kot, Rana Gundai, Gumla, Rahman Deri, Sehri Khan Tarkai, Nal, Sarai Khola, Kulli and Balakot. So what all of you can do, that if you are getting any of the names, all of you know as history optional student, basically you know that your paper 1 and the first question itself, the question is related to mapping section. So if you get the names of these sites anywhere around it has been mentioned, or you get a geographical particular location, then what you can do, if these things come out, then you can write all the features which are associated with Mehargarh in this site. By and large it will work, and it will help you to write down the correct answer and a fetch marks. Okay, so generally. Similarly, in the previous class I had taken about Burzahum, and in that whatever the Neolithic sites which are there in the Kashmir region, apart from Burzahum and Gufkral, many other sites are there. So whatever their characteristic features are there in the Kashmir region, you write down for all the sites of the Kashmir region. Similarly, whatever the features which we recently learned in this previous slides about the features which are there in the Mehargarh, similarly if you get in these sites, you can write it down and say that okay, these are the things, the settlement pattern, the domestication of animals, beginning of agriculture, cultive, motive, what kind of tools are there. So you can write it down, and in this way you can prepare for your whatever the subjects are there. And as far as the PT perspective is concerned, you should remember at least the most important part to remember for PT part is to remember the geographical location and its characterization, that whether it is a Neolithic site, Mesolithic site, Paleolithic site, Chalcolithic site, remember that. So in Mehargarh we get evidence of Chalcolithic also and Neolithic also. Okay. So with this we will be ending our session for today's class. So till now we have covered Burzahum, today we have covered this Mehargarh. Now in the next class we are going to study about the site of Chirand. Okay, these two portions are complete, Burzahum and Mehargarh. Now in the next class we are going to study about Chirand. So on Sunday to Sunday basis we will be covering these classes along with the PYQ discussion of the mains. Okay, so these things are going on. So let us meet in our next class. Until then, read it, revise it, and if you have any kind of doubt and difficulty, I am always there to help you out. You can ask your question and I will solve whatever your queries are there. Okay, thank you.